Hello.
Hey, how's it
How are you?
going?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Would you want to start off by sharing who you are and what do you do?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a loaded question. I don't
Yeah.
really know I don't really know what I do right now. I retired. I retired in January. I was working for various environmental nonprofits and I've been doing that my whole career, and I just felt like come January, I wanted to step back. It got to the point where I was wearing this shirt, this environmental shirt. It was always a green shirt, and people would literally cringe when they saw you because you're out at a festival and you're telling people how they can reduce their impact, and they're just like not interested. They don't want to hear from the
Mm,
person in the green shirt. It kind of just like
yeah.
it seems inconvenient or it's a hassle or they're bothering you. So kind of started to hate being associated with being an environmentalist or being within that sector. People don't want to pay attention to anything about the environment. And now I guess there is more of a draw towards it, but it was a really hard battle back in the day. So I got out of that sector, but now it still is something that's very dear to me. And maybe more so specifically now I'm working more within food security. So I became the chair of the Halton Food Council, which is a not-for-profit food organization within Halton. We're working alongside the region to help implement a food strategy. So that's one of my projects at the moment that I'm really excited for, to get more advocacy to ensure that we have food in Halton. Because was that really a worry before this pandemic? Did people think about it? If we were
Mm-hmm.
ever to fall short of food, or if our grocery stores were ever to not have food. So something near and dear to me is making sure we have local farmers, we have young, exciting people who want to be within the food innovation hub where they have chances to thrive and chances to be creative and how to support a community with food, because that's so important, and it's the basis of every good, strong, resilient community, right? So yeah, I've been working on that. But then ever since I retired, I also started doing a whole bunch of different certifications. Like I got my life coaching certification. I became a doula. So I just wanted to help empower those people around me. And I figured a holistic life coach was what I wanted to do, because holistically, I want to look at someone's life and be able to remind them of their purpose, be able to remind them of the things that they are called to do, that brings them life, that brings them joy, that brings them purpose, that makes them feel as if they are contributing positively to the space around them. So I would really, really love to help people get back on that path of living with compassion, living with purpose. So um, that is what I do now.
Yeah.
long,
Yay.
long, long answer for that one.
My first question, I guess, would be what exactly is sustainability and how can we use it in like our everyday lives?
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things that sustainability, that word has really circulated, and we have to be really mindful of greenwashing, of course, because
Mm,
everything that says it's eco-friendly, it's made from sustainable sources, it's sourced, you know, all of the different terminology and certifications that there are is really difficult. But looking at what sustainability is in essence is, what is it that sustains our livelihood, and how do we preserve it for years to come? So I look at the very simplest form of this. All we really truly need is water and oxygen. So everything that we do can either help preserve it or will destroy it. So what choices are we making that helps us sustain that? Or what choices can we make on a daily basis that can help restore, which is a huge thing. Right now we need to focus on restoring and helping build something that can sustain us.
yeah.
Our system as we know it is not necessarily sustaining us, because we're not thriving. We're hardly surviving right now. We are stressed, we're unhealthy, we're sick, we are living paycheck to paycheck. Like, our system right
Oh
now does
gosh,
not
yeah.
necessarily help us to
Yeah.
thrive. So how do we become more sustainable in this so that we have happiness as well? Because happiness is a big part of sustainability.
Mm.
So I really love the holistic sense of what the word means, is how do we sustain a lifestyle that we are healthy and happy in. I think that's what sustainability is to me. And on a local level, what you do every single day makes a huge difference. You're either doing something, again, that creates an environment or destroys an environment. So it's an interesting thing. It's very affected by almost everything we do. Our food, our fashion, our transportation, our housing, absolutely everything has that impact on our environment. Yeah.
Going back to greenwashing, Chantelle, so how can we make sure that we're buying from a brand that's like not a greenwashing brand, and like making sure that they are using sustainable practices? Is there ways to like figure that out, I guess?
I'm such a skeptic. I'm
Yeah.
such a skeptic, and honestly, for maybe the past 8 to 10 years, I
Yeah.
just stopped. I stopped buying I stopped buying personal care products. So deodorant, shampoo, all that sort of stuff, because that's where it was hitting me the most. It would always say it was natural, it was made from environmentally friendly sources and all this whatever. But when it came down to the basics, there were still a lot of chemicals I couldn't say. There were still a lot of ingredients that I didn't know what they were. Even the packaging alone, like just the packaging. So for something to truly, truly be sustainable, I guess it depends on what that means to you, but is it low waste? Is it low emission? Is it local? Is it fresh? I just try to avoid buying everything.
Yeah.
I just have continued to look for options that are not from new materials, because I figure that that's the most sustainable option. And then everything else, like, I make from scratch, like literally deodorant, all that sort of stuff, because it's scary. It's scary what is out there, what they put in products and they're able to say is natural. It's a scary world.
Thank you. That helps.
Question everything.
Yeah. Chantelle, may I ask, how did you get into sustainability, and like your passion for it? How did that develop and grow?
Yeah, and I think it all started like quite young in high school. I would say like even younger, because when I was like in grade 7, I became vegetarian, but it wasn't to be an environmentalist. It was just because I simply didn't like meat. But now learning more and more about it, it's like, that got me more into animal rights. That got me more into conservation. That got me more into advocacy, I guess. And I traveled quite a bit when I was younger. And I think one of the biggest things that I always noticed was that, like, there's always so much garbage everywhere. There's always so much garbage. So I spent a lot of my time working with organizations that simply focused on that, to pick up people's garbage, to advocate for less garbage. And I literally, my whole life was working within the nonprofit industry. So it was working from that mentality that there needs to be someone to pick up people's garbage. So I guess that's what like got me into it, and wanting to fix that gap, wanting to figure out sorry, that's my brother, wanted to figure out
what up.
yo he's just jealous because I'm at the cottage. Yeah, so it made me want to stay in the system and acknowledge how we get a community to work together to integrate environmentalism, instead of it being a side piece, instead of it being a nonprofit that has to pick up the pieces because, our region can't compost properly or doesn't have a composting facility. So there's a lot of bigger issues that I've been drawn to ever since kind of going into that field. But yeah, that's pretty much what got me there. And I can't leave the nonprofit sector. I can't do it. I could never enter the corporate world. It kind of drives me bonkers to think, I don't know, it just seems like a scary place. But I also see that nonprofits are not the answer. Like, I love them to pieces, and they do so much good work, but they have to prove themselves so much to continue doing the work, and it's not fair. We are overworked. They give so much. They do so much for the community, and they literally have to prove to everyone who's ever given them money, every single dollar spent, what they're doing with everything. Like, give them a break. Like, let them do the work that they need to do, and respect it as a service to the community, because the system has failed us, and we need groups like Hamilton Civic, like all these different great organizations that are working so hard to provide the resources for our community. So I love the nonprofit industry, but it's so hard. Like, it's a very hard place to be. I think the greatest thing that an individual has on a daily basis is your time. Your time is your most powerful and the only thing that you really do have, and how you're spending your time really says a lot about yourself. So your energy, where are you putting your energy? Are you working for an organization that you love or that you don't love? Are you spending your money on a company that you love or that you don't love, or that does well or that doesn't do well? Your attention, are you giving your attention to brands that you love, or brands that don't really do great things for the world around them or even the people around them? Are you aware even of the issues, and are you talking about the solutions? If you follow my life, you know that I have a big obsession with soil. And I know that's like the weirdest thing, but I love soil, because it's literally, it's our essence. Like, what are we going to do if we don't have good soil? Like, we wouldn't be able to grow our food. We wouldn't be able to have all this amazing bacteria that we need. Like, it's all in the soil. And the one thing that every individual can ensure that they're doing is composting. And I know it sounds so minuscule, but it's one of the biggest things that we can do for the environment, but then also for our food security. It's not even like, I mean, if you yourself are composting, how do you make sure that your local businesses, like your favorite restaurants, are also composting? If you live in an apartment and you're not composting, how could you encourage it throughout your apartment building? If you are composting already in Halton and you're living living the life, how can you write to the region to ask them to implement composting or to have commercial compost?
Thank you so much for being part of Locals Festival, Chantelle,
no
and
worries.
kickstarting the day.
No worries. If anyone does have anything and they want to reach out, more than welcome to check out my Instagram and to message, or I have all of the recipes and the different things that I use for natural products and stuff on my highlights, so you can check that out. And if you have any questions, let me know. I always love to help out when you're switching. So check that out. All right, ladies, I hope you enjoy the rest of the weekend, and all the best. Should be fun.
You too. Thank you so much. This was so valuable.
Love it. Anytime.
Bye, everyone.